This is how Jin Ping Mei is read. Chapter 6. Heju bribes the sky. And Wang Po helps him in the rain. Chapter 6 of Simon King buys Heju, and Wang Po helps him in the rain. 1. Hiding the sky and facing the rain. Wu Die died, and the story of water margin ended. Handling this case well was the prerequisite for the smooth writing of Jin Ping Mei. Although Jin Ping Mei only made small changes to the plot, out of respect for water margin modifications, but a slight change will lead to another road to the sky. Heju and water margin left the money and hit the bones in order to prepare for Wu Song's return. After all, the natural cycle of retribution is not good, and water margin can't wait for Wu Song's revenge. The plum and the golden lotus could not let Wu Song succeed in revenge, so Heju became Simon King's man. Although he also wanted to keep the money until Wu Song returned, he easily changed his mind and spent the money again, ignoring the bones. And when Wu Song came back, he hid in the ends of the earth. Let's put aside the plot development for the moment. As far as the matter itself is concerned, which Heju is more real? Perhaps if you are used to the narrative logic of water margin, you will think that the tempered Heju and the golden Ping Mei is a bit weird. But if we go back to the story situation and think about it carefully, what kind of Heju is that? He left one hand to help Wu Song deal with Simon King, but why did he think that Wu Song, who became famous overnight, would be more powerful than the local snake Simon King? If the ending is still as planned in Jin Ping Mei, then wouldn't Heju have to wait for Simon King's bloody revenge? In other words, when the opponent's strength cannot be judged, Heju must make a choice. Choose Wu Song or Simon King as a potential opponent. I think most people will choose Wu Song because Simon King is right in front of them, and because he has friends with the government. Because there are still vested interests of 10 taels of silver. Therefore, I think that what Jin Ping Mei portrays is the real Heju, the real villain in the market. Only such villain in the market can calmly survive in force and power. This is what Jin Ping Mei has. It is different from the philosophical meaning of water margin. It can be said that from this time on, Jin Ping Mei and water margin have truly parted ways. Although there are many stories about Wu Song's return, he is already the Wu Song of Jin Ping Mei and no longer the Wu Song of water margin. Heju's bribery is defined in the title of the portrait book as hiding the truth from the sky, which is in contrast to Wang Po's help is caught in the rain. This is a very interesting question. How small is it for Wang Po to be drunk and caught in the rain? Or from the perspective of the later text, why can't the title be something like Heju took bribes to hide the truth, and Golden Lotus played a tune to flirt? This may be related to the Dragon Boat Festival. There are two customs and sayings about the Dragon Boat Festival in ancient times. One is to hide from the Dragon Boat Festival. Since the Pre-Qin dynasty, there has been a saying that the 5th month and the 5th day of May are evil months and days. Lu's spring and autumn annals stipulates that people should abstain from sex and fast in May. In addition, there are many legends that believe that Changwu is the day of death. For example, historical records, biography of Ming Changjin records that Ming Changjin was born on the 5th day of the 5th lunar month, and his father asked his mother not to give birth to him, believing that those born in the 5th month will be disadvantageous to their parents if they are older than Huki, and so on. Therefore, later generations often planted calamus and mugwort leaves on this day to drive away ghosts, smoked atractalodes, angelica, and drank realgar wine to avoid epidemics. Daughters who were married outside had to go home to celebrate the festival. The other is the Dragon Boat Festival rain, which is a folk custom of fortune-telling. It is believed that if it rains during the Dragon Boat Festival, it is unlucky. On the contrary, no rain on the Dragon Boat Festival means a good year. This kind of popular belief already existed in the Song dynasty. Chen Yunliang's Sui Sui Guangji quoted Yu Yuan Lu as saying, "On May 5th, if people expose the medicine, there will be no disasters. If it rains, ghosts will expose the medicine, and people will get sick." Perhaps because of these possibilities, before entering its own text system, Jin Ping Mei first took advantage of the unlucky rain during the Dragon Boat Festival. On the one hand, it provided the three main characters who did not hide the Dragon Boat Festival this time: Simon King, Pan Jinlian. Wang Pa's evil retribution paved the way, and on the other hand, it also formed a counterpoint to hiding from the sky, thinking that accepting bribes and cooperating can hide from the sky, but the sky can't hide it after all. So it rained on the Dragon Boat Festival as a sign of poor heaven proof. 2. Singing and playing the piano. After the death of Wuhan University, Pan Jinlian and Simon King almost lived together. This was perhaps the happiest time in her life. Look at him putting the pipi on his knees, gently playing with the jade bamboo shoots, playing with the eye strings, playing slowly, and singing in a low voice. Guaner is not lazy to dress up. The hair is tied up in a bun with green silk on the temples, and the gold hairpin is inserted at an angle. On the dark clouds, call the plum fragrance, open the cage, put on a set of plain silk clothes, and dress like Shishi. Come out of the embroidery room, plum fragrance. You and I roll up the curtain and burn a stick of night incense. It's really indescribably charming and full of poetry. For such Pan Jinlian, the text will appear again and again. Jian Xiaofei also repeatedly joked in her masterpiece Q Shui Tang Lun Jin Ping Mei. If I were a man, I would do everything possible to get such a woman. There is no doubt that Pan Jinlian like this is the real protagonist of Jin Ping Mei. As a modern reader, a truly kind-hearted reader should appreciate the artistic beauty in it with calmness, and should not easily pass by in a hurry into the sword of Damocles of morality and ethics. Of course, although rapping is a very elegant thing in the society at that time, singing was mostly for performance and service purposes. For example, at the garden party in chapter 27, when Simon King asked Pan Jinlian and Meng Yulu to play and sing, Pan Jinlian would definitely do it. Asking Li Ping'er to make the beat would not make her useful. Another example is that after Sister Li Gui became Wu Yunyang's godmother, she forced other prostitutes to sing to her, etc. In Jin Ping Mei, prostitute, bitch, and fanboy basically mean the same thing. Therefore, after Pan Jinlian finished singing this time, Simon King praised that no prostitute he had ever seen could play and sing better than her. This was a compliment on the surface, but secretly occurs from the author. Regarding this romantic time when no one else was around, I wrote an obscene poem in the poetry book. In the portrait book, the last sentence of the poem, the joy is so intense that the love is infinitely interesting, and the turtle vomits clear springs from its mouth was changed to the love is so intense that it brings joy. There are still lingering pleasures, cherish the tan lang and never forget each other. Looking back at the beginning of this book, the retrospective poem Lazy Thrush were written in the embroidery book says, "Who knows after we say goodbye, the pearls and jade will be separated. We have forgotten the sea and vowed to be together for a long time, and I fall in love with the mountain." Roosters often abandon couples. Looking at the end of this chapter, the woman couldn't keep him again and again, leaning against the door to send Liu Lang off. And the smoke, water and peach blossoms are lost in the road. All express the woman's reluctance to leave her lover. The situation of missing my lover seems to be very inconsistent with this wonderful night of singing and playing the piano. Why is this? The answer lies in the next chapter, because a new character, Meng Yulu, is coming. And soon, more new characters will be coming. Pan Jinlian's short and happy time ended from now on. The years of suffering and the crime of murder were committed, and the good time in exchange ended in a hurry. I think that no matter how sinful the union between Pan Jinlian and Simon King is, no matter how shameless, despicable, nasty, and vicious they themselves are, even if the moon on your pillow is worse than a prostitute, the author of Jin Ping Mei, especially the portrait version, is where writers still have an instinctive respect for their own experience of happiness. After all, no one can change the destiny that is written. No one can keep what time takes away.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.